Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science Channel. Tonight, we're stepping into a world that seems small at first glance, yet holds the blueprint of forests, civilizations, and entire ecosystems. On first impressions, nuts and seeds can appear dry, dull, and lifeless. But inside, there is a living embryo packed with energy, waiting for the right moment to wake. A single acorn can rise into an oak that outlives generations. A coconut can cross an ocean and claim a new shore. A seed can sleep for centuries, then stir back to life, as if no time has passed at all. Nuts and seeds have traveled with explorers, fed ancient empires, shaped global trade, and fueled the spread of life across continents. They are survival capsules, time travelers, and tiny engines of possibility. And once you begin to look closely, they reveal a hidden world of strategy, resilience, and astonishing design. If you enjoy these gentle journeys, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, all you need to do is relax. Let your body soften and allow your eyes to grow heavy. And let your mind begin to gently unwind as we explore this remarkable world together. Let's begin. Nuts and seeds are living embryos waiting to grow. Inside each one is a tiny plant in waiting, wrapped in a survival kit. It carries a starter supply of energy and a protective coat built to handle rough travel and long delays. Many can sense cues from the outside world before they commit. Moisture, temperature, and even chemicals in the soil can act like a green light. Until then, metabolism stays low, like a candle turned down to its faintest glow. This is why seeds can ride in a bird's stomach, cling to fur, or tumble in rivers without wasting their chance too early. When conditions finally line up, enzymes switch on, stored food breaks down, and the embryo begins to push. What looks like a snack is also a life stage, paused with remarkable precision. A single acorn can become a forest giant. It begins with a small package that contains both a tree and a plan. An oak's first goal is not height. It is roots. The early growth is often focused downward, anchoring the seedling and reaching for dependable moisture. Only once that foundation is built does the trunk start to compete for light. Oaks also play the long game. They can tolerate shade when young, then surge when a gap opens in the canopy. That patience is part of how an acorn can someday support entire neighborhoods of life. Caterpillars feed on its leaves, jays carry its future, and fungi trade nutrients with its roots. Over decades, its branches become scaffolding for nests and shade that changes the ground below. From one hard little seed comes architecture for an ecosystem. Some seeds can sleep for thousands of years. Dormancy is not just waiting. It is a controlled pause with built-in safeguards. The seed coat can limit oxygen and water, which helps slow the chemistry of aging. Some seeds also stockpile protective compounds that reduce damage from stress over time. When they are buried in dry, stable conditions, the years can slide past without much harm. Then, if the right combination arrives, such as moisture after long dryness, the internal switches can still turn on. Scientists have revived ancient seeds from archaeological sites, and each successful sprout is like a message delivered across centuries. It tells us that life can outlast empires and languages. A seed does not need memory or hope. It only needs structure and the patience of biology. The largest seed in the world weighs more than a bowling ball. That honor belongs to the coco de mer, a palm found naturally in the Seychelles. Its seed can be massive, because the seedling's early world is demanding. A large reserve gives it a head start before it can make enough food through photosynthesis. It is like arriving with packed lunches for a long journey. The parent palm invests heavily, and that makes each seed precious. It is also famously slow. The palm takes many years to mature, and the fruit takes a long time to develop. On islands where storms, shade, and competition shape every life, but stored energy can mean the difference between a seedling that stalls and one that establishes. It is a reminder that seed does not always mean small. Sometimes it means extravagant preparation. Tiny chia seeds can absorb many times their weight in water. Drop them into a drink and they transform, as if they were waking up into a new texture. The secret is a coating of soluble fiber that swells when wet, forming a gel around each seed. That gel slows how quickly water moves, and it can also slow digestion, which is one reason people find chia so filling. In nature, the same trick may help in dry habitats. A wet gel clings to soil, which can keep a seed from drying out too fast while it begins its first steps of growth. It can also help the seed stick to surfaces, which may aid dispersal. What feels like a modern health trend is also a clever plant strategy. The seed is small, but it acts big when water finally arrives. Peanuts are not nuts at all. They are legumes, which means they are closer relatives of beans and peas than of walnuts or almonds. That family connection shows up in how they grow. After the peanut flower is pollinated, a slender stalk called a peg pushes downward into the soil. The pod develops underground, hidden from many above-ground threats. This unusual habit changes the way peanuts meet the world. Soil moisture matters. Harvesting is different. Even flavor and storage have their own rules because the pod matures in darkness. Like other legumes, peanut plants can partner with bacteria that help them access nitrogen, which supports growth in less fertile soils. So when you eat a peanut, you are tasting a plant that chose a secretive strategy. It blooms in the open air, then buries its treasure where few expect it. Almonds were once carried along the Silk Road as treasure. They were ideal travel food for long journeys because they are energy-dense, durable, and easy to portion. Merchants crossing deserts and mountain passes could rely on them without needing fresh supplies each day. Almond trees also thrive in climates with cool winters and dry summers, which matched many regions linked by ancient trade routes. As almonds moved, they carried more than calories. They carried agriculture. A traveler could plant a handful near a settlement, and in time, orchards could follow. They also carried culture, showing up in sweets, drinks, and celebratory foods across many cuisines. Their journey maps onto human curiosity and movement. When trade stitched distant places together, small items with big value traveled far. An almond could be a snack, a seed for a future tree, and a sign of connection between worlds. One Brazil nut can contain more selenium than you need in a day. Selenium is a micronutrient your body uses for important enzymes, including ones that help protect cells from damage. Brazil nuts can be unusually rich in it because of where and how the trees grow. In parts of the Amazon, soils can contain selenium, and deep-rooted trees can pull it up and concentrate it in their seeds. That means the level can vary widely from one nut to the next, depending on the soil where it grew. This is why Brazil nuts are often mentioned with a note of moderation. They show how food reflects geology. A seed can become a snapshot of the ground it came from. It is also a reminder that nutrition is not only about what a plant is. It is also about the place it lived and the minerals it quietly gathered over years. Seeds survived the vacuum of space and still sprouted. That sounds like a story made up for a movie, but it has been tested in real experiments. Some seeds can handle harsh conditions because they are built to tolerate drying out. When water is absent, many biochemical reactions slow dramatically, which reduces the kind of damage that happens in active tissue. Tough seed coats can also act as a shield against physical stress. Space adds challenges like extreme temperature swings and intense radiation. Results vary by species, and survival is not guaranteed, but the fact that any can endure at all is astonishing. It suggests that the boundary between alive and not active yet is flexible. It also raises a bigger question that scientists take seriously. If life can travel in durable packages, then the movement of biology between worlds becomes a topic for investigation, not fantasy. Every apple you eat hides a handful of future trees. Each seed carries a unique genetic mix, which means planting apple seeds does not reliably recreate the same apple you just tasted. The new tree could produce fruit that is smaller, tartar, or simply different. That unpredictability is part of the apple's story. For centuries, people selected and crafted favorite varieties to keep them consistent. Meanwhile, the seeds kept generating novelty, offering new traits for future orchards. Apple seeds are also protected by chemicals that discourage animals from chewing them, which helps them pass through the world intact. The fruit is the bribe. The seed is the goal. When an animal carries the fruit away, the seeds get a chance to start over in new ground. So an apple is not only food, it is also a dispersal strategy and a portable bundle of possibilities. The coconut can float across oceans to colonize new islands. It is built like a life raft with a mission. The thick outer husk traps air and softens impacts, so the seed can survive long stretches at sea without breaking apart. Salt water does not help it grow, but it can tolerate the journey until waves finally deliver it to land. Once it beaches on a warm shore, the husk also becomes padding against drying winds and shifting sand. Inside, the seed carries its own drink and its own meal. Liquid and soft white flesh support early growth, while roots search for fresh groundwater. That is why coconuts can appear on remote coasts after storms, even where humans never planted them. It is ocean dispersal in slow motion, carried by currents instead of wings. Some pine cones only open after a forest fire. To a pine cone, heat can be a signal that the old world has cleared. Certain pines hold cones sealed shut by resin, sometimes for years, while seeds wait inside like passengers behind a locked door. When a fire sweeps through, the resin softens and the cone scales loosen. Then the seeds can spill out onto ground that has been transformed. Ash adds minerals. Shade is reduced. Competing plants are temporarily gone. Even the soil surface can become easier for a seed to reach. The timing is not about the flames themselves. It is about the aftermath, when sunlight returns to the forest floor and space opens up. Fire looks like pure destruction, yet for these trees, it can be part of reproduction. Their next generation is scheduled, not in a calendar, but in heat. Cashews grow outside their fruit like strange curved tails. The part we call the cashew apple is not the true fruit in the usual sense. It is a swollen stem that becomes juicy and fragrant, designed to attract attention. Hanging from its end is the real prize, a kidney-shaped shell that protects the seed. This odd arrangement changes the whole strategy. Animals may bite into the soft, sweet casing, then drop the hard seed farther away. Humans notice the flavor too, but harvesting comes with a warning. Between shell layers is an irritating oil that can burn skin. The seed is valuable, but it is not offered freely. It is wrapped in chemical defense, then dangled beneath a bright decoy that invites transport. It is a clever balance of temptation and protection, all in one strange silhouette. The lotus seed can remain viable for over 1,000 years. This is one of nature's most dramatic examples of patience. Lotus seeds can be sealed inside an exceptionally tough coat that limits water and oxygen movement, which slows the internal chemistry that normally leads to decay. In the right conditions, such as being buried in stable sediments, that protection can preserve life for astonishing lengths of time. When the coat is finally breached and moisture can enter, the embryo can still respond. It is a reminder that age is not always a straight line toward failure. In plants, time can be stored, almost like a book kept closed on a shelf. The lotus itself adds to the symbolism, rising from mud to open, clean petals at the surface. The seed carries that same story in miniature: survival first, then sudden renewal. Sesame seeds were among humanity's earliest cultivated crops. Long before modern supermarkets, people valued plants that could be stored, traded, and carried through lean seasons. Sesame fit that world. The seeds are small, but they hold rich oil that resists spoilage better than many other plant fats. That made them useful in kitchens, lamps, and early commerce, especially in warm regions where preservation mattered. Sesame also thrives in dry conditions once established, which helped it spread across landscapes where other crops struggled. Over generations, farmers selected plants that held onto their seeds longer, since wild sesame can scatter them quickly when pods open. That slow shift from wild habit to domesticated reliability is one of agriculture's quiet miracles. A tiny seed helped support settled life, then traveled with traders and cooks, leaving its nutty flavor in foods across continents. Walnuts resemble tiny brains and are rich in brain-friendly fats. Open a walnut and the shape is instantly familiar, with folds and halves that look like a miniature thinking organ. That resemblance is coincidence, but the nutrition story is real. Walnuts contain fats that the body can use to build and maintain cell membranes, including those in the nervous system. They also bring plant compounds that help protect delicate oils from breaking down, which matters because fats are vulnerable to damage over time. Across cultures, walnuts became a valued food for winter storage, since the shell protects the kernel from many threats. Crack one open, and you get a concentrated package that feels both ancient and practical, like a pantry designed by evolution. It is food that lasts, food that travels, and food that has a chemistry that pairs naturally with the needs of a busy brain. Sunflowers track the sun while their seeds quietly mature. In the early life of a sunflower, the head can swing from east to west each day, then back again overnight. This movement is driven by growth differences in the stem, guided by internal timing and light. It is like the plant is practicing attention. Then, as the flower matures and the heavy head fills, the motion stops. Many end up facing east, which can help warm the flower earlier in the day. That warmth can matter because pollinators are often more active when temperatures rise. While all this is happening above, the plant is also building its real legacy. The center of the head becomes a dense pattern of developing seeds, each one fed by the green machinery of leaves that act like solar panels. The plant turns sunlight into a future generation, one seed at a time. Pistachios naturally split open when they are ready. That familiar crack is not just convenient for snackers. As the pistachio kernel grows, it can press outward against the hard shell until the seam opens. It is a sign of maturity, like a package that unlatches itself when the contents are complete. The split can help with dispersal in nature, since a partially opened shell is easier for animals to pry apart. It also changes harvesting and processing, because open shells are often sorted from closed ones. Pistachio trees are tough, and they can handle heat and dry conditions that would stress many other crops. They also tend to produce in cycles, with heavier yields in some years and lighter yields in others. So that tiny split carries a bigger story about timing, climate, and the slow building of a crop that humans have prized for centuries. Ancient Egyptians were buried with nuts for the afterlife. Food in a tomb was not a casual snack. It was a statement about survival beyond the visible world. Nuts were especially suited to that role because they store well and carry dense energy in a small form. They could represent preparation, prosperity, and a hope of continued nourishment. In a culture that planned carefully for eternity, durable foods fit the logic of the burial chamber. Tomb offerings also tell us what people valued enough to send with someone into the next life. They point to trade networks, seasonal harvests, and the everyday flavors that mattered. When archaeologists find these remains, they are not only finding remnants of a meal. They are finding a message about belief, comfort, and the desire to be cared for after death. A nut becomes a bridge between the practical and the sacred. The cola nut once flavored the very first cola drinks. Before cola became a global taste, it had a botanical starting point. The cola nut contains natural caffeine, and it was already important in parts of West Africa as a valued stimulant and a social offering. When early cola recipes emerged, the idea of using plant ingredients with bitterness and energy made sense, especially in an era fascinated by tonics. The nut helped shape the name and the identity, even as modern formulas changed over time. There is also a bigger story hiding in that flavor. A local cultural plant became part of an international product, carried through trade and industry in a way that transformed how millions of people encountered caffeine. It is a reminder that behind familiar brands, there are often older histories, rooted in specific places and practices. A simple nut helped launch one of the most recognizable tastes on Earth. Some desert seeds germinate only after rare, heavy rains. In many deserts, the most dangerous choice a seed can make is sprouting too soon. A brief drizzle might wake it, then the soil dries and the seedling dies. So some desert plants build in delays. Their seeds can carry chemical breaks that wash away only after sustained soaking. Others respond to a specific pattern, with deep moisture that reaches below the hot surface crust. When the right storm finally arrives, the landscape can change fast. The ground can fill with sudden green, and insects and birds appear as if they were waiting backstage. These plants race the calendar because the window is short and the sun is relentless. Their whole life cycle can unfold in weeks. In that way, a desert can hold a hidden library of futures, all waiting for one generous rain. Hazelnuts were roasted by humans over 10,000 years ago. Long before farming became the main way people got food, nuts were a dependable treasure. Hazelnuts are rich in energy, and they can be gathered in large quantities when the season turns. Archaeologists have found ancient hearth sites where hazelnut shells were burned and cracked, which suggests deliberate roasting rather than random fire damage. Roasting makes a nut easier to store and eat, and it changes flavor in a way humans tend to love. It is also a clue about planning. To roast and keep nuts is to think beyond today's hunger. It hints at camps where people returned, at shared meals, and at knowledge passed along, such as when to harvest and how to preserve. When you hold a hazelnut, you are holding a food that has been part of human evenings by firelight for a very long time. A strawberry's seeds sit on the outside, not inside. What looks like a strawberry seed is actually a tiny fruit of its own. Each little speck on the surface is an aken, which holds a single seed inside a hard shell. The red part we bite into is not the true fruit. It is swollen plant tissue that developed to make the whole package irresistible. This design turns one snack into a crowd. Each strawberry can carry many potential offspring, each one wrapped in its own miniature casing. When animals eat the sweet flesh, they can carry those acorns away to new ground. It is also a reminder that plants do not follow our expectations. We picture seeds hidden like secrets, yet here they are, displayed like freckles. A strawberry is a clever advertisement, with dozens of tiny futures on the outside, where the world can grab them. Macadamia nuts were once a prized gift among indigenous Australians. In the rainforests of eastern Australia, macadamias were known and valued long before they became a global crop. The trees produce a rich, dense kernel that can be carried and shared, which makes it well suited for travel and exchange. Indigenous communities gathered the nuts, prepared them with care, and treated them as a special food rather than an everyday filler. Gifts matter because they carry meaning beyond calories. They can mark relationships, visits, and celebrations. Macadamias also demand patience, since the shell is famously hard and the reward is hidden inside. That effort can add to their status. When the nuts later entered commercial agriculture, the world discovered their flavor. But the deep story began much earlier. It began with people who knew the forests intimately and who recognized that some foods are valuable enough to share with ceremony. Squirrels forget buried nuts and accidentally plant forests. A squirrel hides food for later, and that habit can reshape a landscape. Many squirrels scatter hoard, which means they bury nuts in many separate spots instead of one big stash. It is a safety strategy, since no single thief can steal everything at once. The twist is that memory is not perfect, and life is busy. Some caches are never retrieved. A buried nut is suddenly in a dream location for a plant, tucked into soil, protected from drying air, and placed away from the parent tree. Over time, this behavior can help oaks, hickories, and other nut trees spread into new areas. The squirrel is not trying to be a gardener. It is trying to survive winter. Yet the forest benefits from the mistakes. In that way, an animal's appetite becomes part of how woodlands renew themselves and migrate across generations. Flax seeds were woven into some of humanity's earliest fabrics. Flax is a plant that offers two gifts at once. Its seeds provide oil and nourishment, while its stems contain long fibers that can be turned into linen. Making fabric from flax is a process that rewards skill and patience. The stems must be harvested at the right time, then softened so fibers can be separated, then combed and spun into thread. Early linen became a quiet revolution. Clothing and nets could last longer and work better than many other materials available at the time. That meant warmer bodies, better fishing, and new kinds of trade. Flax also connects food and technology in one plant. A field could feed people with its seeds and also clothe them with its fibers. When you see a flax seed, it is easy to think only of nutrition. Yet it also belongs to a story about tools, craft, and the human urge to turn plants into shelter. The mighty oak begins as a seed no bigger than a coin. That small start is packed with strategy. An acorn is not just an embryo. It is also a stocked pantry that supports early growth when leaves are not yet feeding the plant. The first season can be about survival rather than speed. A young oak may put energy into building a sturdy root system, which helps it handle drought and compete for water. The seedling also has to navigate a dangerous world. Shade can slow it down. Browsing animals can clip it back. Frost can arrive early. Yet oaks are built for persistence. Many can re-sprout after damage, and they can wait in the understory until light increases. Over time, that patience becomes power. When the moment finally comes, a tiny beginning can turn into deep wood, spreading branches and long life. The scale difference is the point. Small does not mean insignificant. Mustard seeds can grow into plants taller than a person. It is easy to picture mustard only as a condiment, but the plant itself can be bold and fast. Under good conditions, mustard can surge upward in a single season, turning a handful of small seeds into stalks that rise above waist height and keep climbing. That speed is useful in the wild, since height can mean access to sunlight and a better chance to set seed before drought or cold arrives. Mustard also has its own chemistry set. The sharp flavor we know comes from compounds that can discourage pests and make hungry mouths think twice. For humans, that defense became a spice, and different mustard varieties shaped cuisines in different ways. The plant's quick growth also makes it useful in fields, where it can cover soil and compete with weeds. A tiny seed becomes a tall statement in a surprisingly short time. Nutmeg is actually the seed of a tropical tree. The nutmeg tree grows in warm, humid climates, and its fruit hides a layered surprise. When it ripens, the fruit splits open to reveal a glossy seed wrapped in a bright, lacy covering. That outer covering is dried into a separate spice called mace, while the seed becomes nutmeg once it is cured. So one fruit can offer two distinct flavors, each with its own culinary role. Nutmeg also has a history shaped by distance, because for centuries it grew naturally in a limited region, which made it precious in global trade. People traveled far for that aroma, and fortunes were tied to its supply. It is powerful in another way too. In large amounts, it can make people feel unwell, which is why it belongs in pinches, not handfuls. A familiar kitchen spice carries a story of botany, rarity, and careful use. Some seeds need to pass through an animal's gut to sprout. For certain plants, being eaten is not a failure. It is the plan. A tough seed coat can keep a seed dormant, and the journey through an animal can provide the exact kind of treatment that breaks the delay. Acid can etch the surface. Warmth and moisture can soak in. Movement can scar the coat just enough to let water enter later. Then there is transport. The seed can be carried far from the parent plant, dropped in a new place with a ready-made dose of fertilizer. This can help plants spread across valleys, rivers, and open ground without needing wind or water. It also links plant survival to animal behavior. If a key animal disappears, a plant can struggle to reproduce in the same way. So a seed can be part traveler and part puzzle piece in a larger ecosystem. Sprouting can begin with a bite. Almond trees bloom before their leaves even appear. Spring can arrive in an almond orchard like a sudden announcement, with pale blossoms opening on bare branches. It is a high-risk strategy with a clear reward. Flowering early gives the tree first access to pollinators and sunlight before shade from its own canopy begins. It also means the tree can start building fruit while the weather is still mild, which is useful in regions where summers turn hot and dry. The gamble is frost. A cold snap can damage blossoms and erase a season's work overnight. That tension is part of why almond farming is so watchful, with growers tracking weather and timing in a way that feels almost like choreography. You can stand among blooming trees and sense the urgency. The tree is betting the year on a short window, and it needs everything to go right. The ginkgo tree bears seeds from a lineage older than dinosaurs. Ginkgo trees are survivors from a world that barely resembles ours. Their ancestors were already established long before the age of giant reptiles ended, and the tree's fan-shaped leaves still look like they belong to deep time. Modern ginkgos are also unusual in how they live their lives. They have separate male and female trees, so reproduction depends on being planted in the right company. The seeds are not true nuts, and the outer layer can produce a strong odor when it ripens, which is why cities often prefer male trees for streets. Yet the ginkgo persists, not only in parks and temples, but in its own biology. It tolerates pollution, compacted soil, and stresses that defeat many other species. When you see a ginkgo dropping seeds in autumn, you are watching a living thread that runs through countless vanished ecosystems and still continues. Cacao beans are fermented seeds before becoming chocolate. Chocolate begins as a seed with a complicated personality. Fresh from the pod, cacao is not automatically delicious. The seeds are bitter, and their most important flavors are still locked away. Fermentation is the turning point. After harvesting, the seeds and sticky pulp are piled or boxed, and microbes get to work. Heat rises. Acids form. The seed's inner chemistry shifts, and the building blocks of chocolate flavor begin to appear. Later, drying and roasting deepen those changes, turning raw potential into aroma you can recognize from across a room. This is why cacao is not just farming. It is also controlled transformation, guided by smell, temperature, and timing. Two batches from the same orchard can taste different if fermentation is handled differently. So every bar carries a hidden origin story, art plant, art microbial teamwork, part human craft. A peanut plant flowers above ground but fruits below it. This life cycle forces the plant to solve two very different problems at once. Above ground, it needs visibility. Flowers must meet pollinators, and leaves must catch light and manage heat. Below ground, the developing pods need stability. Soil buffers temperature swings, hides them from many hungry animals, and provides a steady source of moisture when the surface turns harsh. The arrangement also shapes how peanuts are farmed. Harvesting means lifting the whole plant, and timing is crucial because pods mature at different depths and rates. It can even influence risk, since underground pods can be exposed to soil fungi if conditions are too wet or if drying is delayed. What seems like a strange quirk is really a negotiation with the environment. The plant splits its work between sky and soil, using each place for what it does best, and producing a crop that feels familiar while growing in a way that is anything but. Some rainforest seeds explode to scatter themselves meters away. In a crowded rainforest, falling straight down can be a disaster. Shade is deep, competition is fierce, and seedlings can end up fighting their own siblings. Some plants answer that problem with force. They build tension into fruit walls as they dry or mature, storing elastic energy like a spring being wound tighter and tighter. Then the structure fails on purpose, snapping open and launching seeds outward. It can happen fast enough to startle you, with a sharp pop that sounds like a tiny firecracker in the leaves. This is not randomness. It is distance. A few meters can place a seed into better light, fresher soil, or simply away from the pests and diseases that gather beneath a parent plant. The rainforest looks calm from a distance, yet right inside it, there are plants that reproduce with sudden physics, turning stored tension into a clean escape. Pine nuts come from cones that can take years to mature. A pine tree's timeline is not hurried. In some species, the journey from pollination to a fully mature cone stretches across multiple seasons. During that time, the tree must keep feeding a structure that is still unfinished, while weather, insects, and drought test it again and again. The payoff is a seed designed for endurance, protected by woody scales, and released only when conditions favor dispersal. This long maturation also means pine nut harvests can be unpredictable from year to year, because a bad season can echo forward into the future. There is something humbling about that pace. A cone that opens today may have begun its story years ago, through summers, winters, storms, and heat. When you eat a pine nut, you are tasting time that has been stored on a branch. shaped by patience rather than speed. It is a seed that required commitment long before it ever reached your hand. The shea nut produces butter used for centuries in Africa. Shea begins as a tree adapted to tough landscapes, where survival depends on endurance and deep roots. Its nuts contain fats that can be turned into a rich butter, and that butter has long been valued for cooking, skincare, and protection against dry air. The work of producing it is often communal and skilled, involving harvesting, drying, cracking, roasting, grinding, and careful mixing until the texture changes. It is not an industrial shortcut. It is a practiced craft. The tree itself also asks for patience. Shea trees can take many years before producing heavily, which makes each mature tree a kind of long-term investment in a community's future. In a world where many products are anonymous, shea butter often carries a trace of place, season, and hands. It is a reminder that a single nut can support daily life, tradition, and livelihoods at the same time. Quinoa is technically a seed, not a grain. It behaves like a grain in the kitchen, but botanically it is closer to a seed harvested from a flowering plant. That difference matters because quinoa carries its own set of traits. It can grow in high, harsh environments where thin air, cold nights, and strong sun make farming difficult. It also comes with a built-in defense. Many varieties have bitter saponins on the outer layer, which can discourage pests, and which people remove by washing or processing. Quinoa's rise from regional staple to global pantry item is also a story about how food travels. A plant that once anchored diets in the Andes became known worldwide, and that shift brought both opportunities and challenges for the communities that cultivated it first. When you cook quinoa, you are not only cooking a seed. You are cooking a piece of agricultural history shaped by altitude, resilience, and careful human selection. The vanilla pod is filled with thousands of tiny seeds. Vanilla is a lesson in how much effort can hide behind a familiar smell. The long pod is packed with countless seeds so small they look like dark dust. Yet those tiny specks carry much of the flavor and aroma people associate with true vanilla. The plant is an orchid, and it relies on pollination that can be rare in nature, which is one reason vanilla cultivation often involves careful human work. Then comes curing. Fresh pods do not smell the way you expect. The recognizable fragrance develops through a slow sequence of sweating, drying, and resting that coaxes complex compounds into being. This is why real vanilla is valued. It is not only a plant product. It is a process where timing and handling shape the final scent. When you open a pod and see that dense field of seeds, you are looking at thousands of futures wrapped in one of the most famous aromas on Earth. Chestnut forests once covered vast regions of North America. There was a time when American chestnut trees dominated large stretches of eastern forests, producing heavy crops of nuts that fed wildlife and people season after season. The trees grew tall and straight, and their wood was widely used, which made them both ecological pillars and practical resources. Then, a blight arrived, and the change was swift on a historical timescale. Mature trees died back, and the forests lost a major food source that had shaped the rhythm of life. The loss is still felt in the landscape, because a species like that is not easily replaced. Yet chestnuts have not vanished entirely. Many still sprout from old roots, growing until the blight catches them again, and restoration efforts continue through breeding and research. The story is not only about disappearance. It is about what happens when an ecosystem loses one of its key builders, and how humans respond when they realize what is gone. Some seeds sense smoke as a signal to awaken. In certain fire-prone landscapes, smoke can mean opportunity. After a burn, sunlight reaches the ground, nutrients return in ash, and competitors are temporarily cleared away. Some plants have evolved to treat chemicals in smoke as a reliable announcement that this moment has arrived. It is not the heat that triggers them. It is the airborne cue that drifts into the soil and dissolves into moisture. Once that signal is present, a seed that might have waited for years can switch from caution to action. This is one reason wildflower seasons can seem almost miraculous after fires, with blooms appearing where the ground looked empty. The seed bank was not empty at all. It was listening. When smoke arrives, it can unlock a whole hidden generation, timed to a landscape that has been reset. The world's rarest seeds are stored in frozen vaults. Around the world, scientists and conservationists treat seeds like a backup copy of life. In seed banks, carefully dried seeds are sealed and stored at low temperatures so they age far more slowly. The goal is not only to protect crops. It is also to protect wild plants that could vanish through habitat loss, disease, or climate stress. Each stored sample is a promise that a species can return, even if it disappears locally. Some seeds are easy to save. Others are famously difficult, especially those that cannot tolerate drying or freezing. That challenge pushes research forward, since saving a seed can mean saving a whole ecosystem's future. In a frozen room, rows of packets hold grasslands, forests, medicines, and foods that have not been invented yet. It is a quiet form of insurance, and it reveals how seriously humans now take the idea of safeguarding biodiversity. Brazil nuts grow inside camembert-like fruit pods. The Brazil nut tree does not hand out its seeds gently. It packs them into a hard, heavy pod that can drop from high branches like a wooden meteor. Inside that pod are wedge-shaped seeds, tucked together like segments in an orange, except each segment is armored. The pod is so tough that not many animals can open it. One of the best known is the agouti, a strong-toothed rodent that can gnaw through the shell and carry seeds away. Some get eaten, and some get buried and forgotten, which helps the tree spread. This means the tree's reproduction depends on a chain of events, from successful flowering to the right animals doing the right work. It is a rainforest strategy built on protection, gravity, and a few determined helpers. The nut you eat began its life inside a falling fortress. Certain orchids produce seeds smaller than grains of dust. Orchid seeds can be so tiny that they resemble smoke specks rather than plant embryos. That small size gives them a special superpower. They can travel far on faint air currents. The trade-off is that they carry almost no stored food. A seedling cannot live off its own reserves for long, so it needs help quickly. Many orchids rely on fungi in the soil to supply nutrients during early growth, which means germination is not only about moisture and warmth. It is also about landing in the right microscopic neighborhood. This makes orchids both adventurous and picky. They can scatter their futures across wide areas. Then only a few will find the exact partnership they need. That combination helps explain why orchids can be found in surprising places, yet some are still rare and fragile. Their life begins as near weightless possibility. Seeds can travel on the wind like living parachutes. Some plants treat air as a highway, and the seed is designed as a passenger. Dandelion seeds carry a feathery crown that catches turbulence and slows descent, which can keep them aloft longer than you would expect. Maples use spinning wings that helicopter down, turning a fall into a guided glide. These shapes do not need intelligence. They only need physics. By staying in the air a little longer, a seed can move away from its parent, escape the shade below, and reach new ground that has not been claimed. Wind dispersal also creates surprise. A single gust can send a seed over a fence, across a road, or into a crack in a wall where soil has gathered. When you see seeds floating past, you are watching travel, exploration, and population growth in motion, carried by invisible currents. Nut oils were used to fuel ancient lamps. Before electricity, light often came from chemistry you could hold in your hand. Oils pressed from seeds and nuts were valuable because they burned with a steady flame and could be stored for long periods. A lamp fed by plant oil could extend working hours, support reading and craft, and make homes safer than open fires alone. The choice of oil mattered. Thickness affected the wick. Smoke affected indoor air. Scent affected comfort. In some regions, local oil crops shaped how nights looked and felt, since reliable lamp fuel could become a daily necessity. This also tied food and light together in a very direct way. The same plant that could feed you could also brighten a room. In that sense, a seed was not only nourishment, it was a tool. It powered evening life, and it turned stored sunlight into visible flame after dark. The baobab fruit contains nutrient-rich seeds treasured for centuries. Baobab trees are often called upside-down trees because of their branch shapes, and their fruit is just as distinctive. The hard-shelled pods hold a dry, tangy pulp and many seeds, all protected from heat and drought. In regions where baobabs grow, the fruit has long been used as a dependable resource, especially when seasons are harsh. The seeds can be processed into foods and ingredients, and the fruit's contents have been valued for their nutrition. This is not a plant that offers a fragile gift. It offers a package built for survival, which fits the landscapes it lives in. The baobab itself can live for a very long time, and it stores water in its trunk, which makes it a familiar landmark and a source of resilience. The fruit is part of that same story, enduring, portable, and worth keeping. Some acorns are sweet, while others are naturally bitter. If you have ever heard that acorns can be eaten, there is an important detail hidden in that idea. Many acorns contain bitter tannins that discourage animals from eating them too quickly. Those tannins can vary by species, by individual tree, and even by year. Some oaks produce acorns that are relatively mild, which can make them more attractive to wildlife. Others produce very bitter acorns, which may last longer on the ground because fewer animals can tolerate them. Humans have learned ways to reduce bitterness through soaking and repeated rinsing, turning a defensive seed into a usable food. This variation creates a subtle game between trees and animals. A sweeter acorn might be eaten sooner, but it might also be carried farther. A bitter acorn might be ignored long enough to sprout. Oak reproduction is shaped not only by wind and rain, but by taste. A single sunflower head can hold thousands of seeds. What looks like one flower is actually a crowded community. The sunflower's face is made of many tiny florets packed into a tight pattern, and each floret has the potential to become a seed. As pollinators move across the disc, they help that transformation happen one tiny unit at a time. This structure is efficient. It concentrates color and nectar into one bright target, which can attract more visitors and improve pollination success. It also creates a remarkable payoff. One tall stalk can produce a dense harvest, feeding birds, insects, and people from a single plant. The arrangement is also famous for its spirals, which reflect how plants pack structures tightly as they grow. That pattern is not decoration. It is a way of fitting many futures into limited space. When you hold a handful of sunflower seeds, you are holding the results of thousands of small botanical decisions made in one living disc. The pecan tree can live and produce nuts for centuries. Some pecan trees are still bearing crops long after the people who planted them are gone. That longevity changes what the tree means. It is not only a source of food. It becomes part of place, part of memory, and part of the landscape's rhythm. A mature pecan has deep roots and a wide crown, and it can return year after year with heavy, energy-rich nuts that wildlife and humans both value. It also reflects patient investment, since young trees take time to reach full production. In river valleys where pecans are native, their ability to handle floods and seasonal change help them thrive. For growers, a pecan orchard can be a multi-generational project, where the best years might belong to grandchildren. That long arc is part of the fascination. A nut can be the product of a tree that has been quietly working through centuries of weather, drought, and storms, still offering its harvest. Watermelon seeds can sprout in under a week. Give them warmth, moisture, and a little air, and they move fast. The shell softens, the embryo switches on, and the first root pushes out like a white thread searching for grip. That early root is not optional. It is the seedling's lifeline, anchoring the plant and finding water before the first leaves can do much work. In good soil, the shoot follows soon after, lifting the seed leaves toward light and starting the plant's first round of sugar making. For a crop plant, speed matters. A quick start can help it outrun early dangers like drying soil, hungry insects, or competition from weeds. It is also a reminder that a seed is not a miniature fruit. It is a timed launch system. With the right conditions, a watermelon's future can begin almost immediately. The argan nut is harvested with help from climbing goats. In parts of Morocco, goats are famous for scrambling into argan trees, balancing on branches that look far too narrow for comfort. They are there for the fruit, and as they eat, they drop pits to the ground or carry them in ways that make collection easier for people. The pit is the hard part, because inside it are the kernels used to make argan oil. That oil has become prized, both in cooking and in cosmetics, and it links a local ecosystem to global demand. Argan trees also stabilize dry landscapes, and they support biodiversity in regions that can be harsh. The goat story is memorable, but it points to something bigger. A single crop can tie together animals, people, and land management all in one chain. When you picture goats in trees, you are seeing a food system that grew from place-specific relationships, not from a factory blueprint. Some palm seeds take years before they finally germinate. To impatient eyes, it can look like nothing is happening. Yet inside the seed, slow preparation may be underway. Some palms have embryos that are not fully developed at the moment the seed is dispersed, so time becomes part of the recipe. Others have tough seed coats or chemical blockers that delay growth until conditions are consistently favorable. In tropical environments, waiting can be wise. A seed that sprouts during a brief dry spell can fail quickly, while one that delays may catch the start of a long, wet season. A long pause also discourages predators. Many animals do not bother guarding something that refuses to grow on a predictable schedule. When a palm seed finally breaks dormancy, it can feel like a reveal. A patient design turns time into protection and makes germination less like a trigger and more like a decision. The spice cardamom comes from fragrant seed pods. Cardamom is not a leaf or a bark. It is a set of seeds sealed inside a pod, and the pod is where the aroma is guarded. When you crack one open, the scent releases in a rush. Sweet, citrusy, and slightly resinous, as if it has been stored under pressure. That fragrance comes from volatile oils that the plant produces for its own reasons, often tied to defense and attraction in the natural world. For humans, it became a spice that can transform food with only a small pinch. It shows up in desserts, teas, and savory dishes, and it travels well because the pod keeps the oils from escaping too quickly. Cardamom also reminds you that a seed is not only a future plant. Sometimes it is also a tiny vault of chemistry, built to hold scent in place until the moment it is released. Seeds can remain dormant beneath Arctic ice. In polar and subpolar regions, growing seasons are short and unpredictable, so timing is everything. Some seeds can lie in frozen ground for long periods, protected by low temperatures that slow the chemical reactions of aging. When thaw finally comes, it can arrive in pulses, with brief summers that demand quick action. Seeds that wake at the wrong moment can be caught by a late frost or stranded without enough warmth to finish their early growth. Dormancy becomes a kind of calendar that can stretch across years. It is also a quiet archive. Layers of soil and ice can hold seeds from past climates, which means the land can carry a memory of vegetation that once grew there. When conditions shift, those stored seeds can contribute to what returns. Under the ice, life can wait without moving, then answer when the surface world finally allows it. Walnuts were once called Persian royal nuts. Their reputation traveled along with them. Walnuts have a strong shell, a rich kernel, and a flavor that stands out, which made them a valued food wherever they spread. The royal nickname points to status and desirability, but it also hints at geography. Persia sat at a crossroads of exchange, where plants, goods, and ideas moved between regions. As walnuts traveled, they became part of orchards, cuisines, and rituals in new places. A walnut tree is also an investment. It takes time to mature, and it rewards patience with harvests that can last for decades. That kind of timeline fits well with the idea of legacy, the sort of thing wealthy households and rulers tend to care about. So the name is more than a compliment. It reflects how people once ranked foods by durability, richness, and the ability to become a long-term resource. A simple nut earned a title that sounds like a crown. The cocoa seed contains compounds that gently lift mood. Part of chocolate's appeal is taste, but part of it is body chemistry. Cocoa contains theobromine, a stimulant related to caffeine that can feel smoother and longer lasting. It also contains small amounts of compounds that interact with brain signaling, along with aromas that can trigger powerful associations and cravings. None of this turns chocolate into medicine, but it helps explain why it can feel comforting in a way that seems deeper than sweetness alone. The effects also depend on dose and on how much cocoa remains after processing, since sugar and added fats can change the experience. What makes this fascinating is the idea that a seed evolved to protect itself with chemistry, and humans learned to enjoy those chemicals as pleasure. It is a reminder that our emotions are not only stories in the mind, they are also responses to molecules delivered through food and shaped by culture and memory. Some seeds drill themselves into soil using twisting motion. It sounds like a trick, but it is real engineering. Certain seeds have long tails called aurns that react to changes in humidity. When the air gets damp, the aurn can twist. When it dries, it can untwist. This repeated motion can walk the seed across the ground, and in some cases, it can drive the seed point first into cracks and loose soil. It is not conscious movement. It is a physical response built into the seed structure, like a spring that tightens and loosens with the weather. The advantage is clear. A seed on the surface can be eaten, scorched, or blown away. A seed tucked into soil is safer, and it is closer to moisture when the time comes to germinate. Watching one of these seeds work is like watching a tiny machine powered by the atmosphere, turning daily humidity into purposeful travel. Ancient traders carried almonds across entire continents. Almonds were the kind of cargo you could trust. They are compact, stable, and calorie-rich, which makes them useful on long journeys where fresh food is uncertain. They also carry cultural value. A traveler could trade them, gift them, or plant them in new lands where the climate allowed trees to take root. Over time, almonds moved from being a regional crop to a familiar ingredient across wide areas, appearing in pastries, sauces, and festive dishes. This spread was not accidental. It required knowledge of growing conditions, storage, and seasonal timing. It also required people who were willing to carry living agriculture in their packs, not just finished goods. When the food travels that far, it becomes more than food. It becomes a marker of connection between places and a sign of how human movement can reshape plant geography. An almond is small, yet it can trace the outline of trade routes. Pumpkin seeds were cultivated in the Americas thousands of years ago. Long before pumpkins became a seasonal decoration, squash plants were carefully tended for practical reasons. People selected varieties with useful flesh, reliable storage, and seeds worth saving. The seeds are a food in their own right, rich and satisfying, and they can be dried and kept for later. Cultivation also meant planning for the next season, because saving seeds is a commitment to continuity. Over generations, that practice shapes plants into forms that depend on humans as much as humans depend on them. Squash plants fit well into farming systems because they spread across the ground, shading soil and helping reduce weeds, while their vines can coexist with other crops. The history is not only botanical, it is cultural. A seed links meals, farming knowledge, and community survival. When you hold pumpkin seeds, you are holding the result of choices made across many lifetimes, guided by taste, storage, and the need to endure. A single tree can drop tens of thousands of seeds. For many trees, reproduction is a numbers game played against wind, weather, insects, and hungry mouths. Most seeds will never become adults, so the tree floods the world with chances. A large canopy can release a blizzard of tiny parcels, each one aimed at a different landing spot. Some fall into shade and fail. Some land on rocks. Some are eaten within minutes. A few slip into the right crack of soil, with enough light and moisture to begin. This strategy also spreads risk. If a fungus hits one patch of ground, seeds in another patch might still succeed. In mast years, when many trees produce heavy crops at once, predators can be overwhelmed, leaving more seeds uneaten. The result is dramatic. One established tree can shape the future forest, not by moving, but by scattering possibilities widely. The kola nut contains natural caffeine. Caffeine is not a gift meant for humans. In plants, it is often chemical protection. It can discourage insects from eating tender parts, and in high doses it can disrupt small nervous systems. In the kola nut, caffeine becomes part of a seed's defense and identity, concentrated in a form that people learn to value. Chewed traditionally in some places for alertness and focus, it offers a lift that can feel clear and steady. It also tastes intensely bitter at first, which hints at its original purpose. Humans, being humans, found ways to pair that bitterness with sweetness and ritual. What fascinates me is the reversal. A compound meant to keep predators away became a reason people sought the plant out. A seed that developed chemistry for survival ended up influencing human habits, energy, and daily rhythms. It is plant strategy meeting human desire, with caffeine as the bridge. Some seeds only sprout after freezing temperatures. In cold climates, a seed that germinates in autumn can be doomed. The seedling rises, the freeze arrives, and tender tissue is lost. Some plants avoid that trap with a built-in winter lock. The seed can require a period of cold before it will respond to warmth, which helps ensure spring is truly on the way. Freezing and thawing can also soften tissues and break down internal blockers, preparing the embryo for action. It is like a seasonal password. Without winter, the seed stays patient. After winter, it becomes ready. This timing creates a neat alignment with pollinators, rainfall, and longer days. It also means that climate shifts can have surprising effects. If winters shorten or warm, some seeds may miss the cue they evolved to trust. Their calendar is written in temperature, and it is remarkably precise. Pine forests rely on seeds hidden within woody cones. A cone is more than decoration. It is a storage vault that can keep seeds protected on the tree, sometimes long after they are fully formed. While the forest shifts through storms and dry spells, the seeds wait behind overlapping scales, safe from many animals and from sudden damp that could trigger decay. When conditions are right, cones open and release seeds into moving air, often on dry days when wind can carry them farther. This approach matters in forests where the ground can be crowded or risky. Keeping seeds off the soil until a good moment can improve the odds of landing in light and space. Cones also let a tree spread reproduction across time. Instead of one brief drop, release can happen in pulses, shaped by weather. In a pine forest, cones are hanging seed banks, and every breeze can be a quiet distribution event. The mango pit protects a large hidden seed inside. A mango's sweet flesh is an invitation, but the real goal is the hard core at the center. The pit is tough enough to survive the rough handling that comes with being eaten, carried, and dropped. Inside that woody armor is a seed that is large and well supplied, ready to push roots and shoots with a strong first burst. The size matters because early growth can be a race against drying soil and competition. In the wild, large fruit also attracts large animals, which can transport the pit away from the parent tree. That distance is valuable. It reduces the chance of disease and crowding, and it gives the seed a new patch of ground to claim. The mango's design is a three-part strategy. Offer reward, protect the core, and use an animal as a vehicle. It is delicious, but it is also logistics. Seeds store food to fuel their first fragile days. A newborn plant cannot photosynthesize immediately. Before leaves expand and begin making sugar, it needs an internal meal plan. That is why many seeds pack reserves, often as starches, oils, or proteins, stored in tissues meant for feeding the embryo. When germination begins, enzymes break those reserves into usable pieces, and the seedling spends them carefully. Roots must form, shoots must rise, and the first leaves must reach light before the pantry runs out. This is a narrow, high-stakes window. If a seed is buried too deep, it may not reach the surface in time. If soil dries too fast, the first root can fail. The stored food is not just extra nutrition. It is the bridge between stillness and independence. It lets a plant begin life without borrowing from the world right away. A seed is both a beginning and a packed lunch. Nut trees can form partnerships with underground fungi. Beneath a nut tree, there can be an invisible trade agreement running through the soil. Many trees link their roots with mycorrhizal fungi, which spread fine threads far beyond what roots can reach alone. The fungi help gather water and scarce nutrients, and the tree repays them with sugars made in its leaves. This partnership can change how a tree handles stress. In drought, extra reach can matter. In poor soil, better nutrient access can matter. It also shapes the early life of seedlings, which may connect into the same fungal networks and gain support sooner. Think of it as an underground extension of the root system, built from a different organism. The tree does not grow those threads itself, yet it benefits from them daily. When you walk through a grove, the real action is not only in branches and fruit. It is also in the shared economy below your feet. The candle nut was once used as a natural torch. Some seeds are so rich in oil that they can burn. Candle nuts contain enough fat that, when dried, they can be lit and used as a source of light. In some traditions, people threaded them on a stick or fiber, then lit one end so the flame could travel slowly from nut to nut. It is a striking example of stored energy made visible. A seed captures sunlight through the plant's work, then concentrates that energy into oil meant to nourish a future seedling. Humans discovered another use. That same oil could extend the day after sunset, turning a plant's reproductive reserve into illumination. It also made the seed practical in a world without modern fuels. Light is safety, work, story, and navigation. To think that a seed could provide it is a reminder of how versatile plant chemistry can be. A nut became a candle, and a pantry became a flame. Some seeds hitchhike on animal fur using tiny hooks. Some plants do not rely on wind or water at all. They recruit animals as moving vehicles. The seed or its casing can be covered in microscopic hooks that latch onto fur, feathers, or clothing and hold tight through long journeys. This is how a seed can cross a stream, leave a crowded patch, and reach entirely new habitats without any wings. The hooks are often angled so they resist being brushed off, yet eventually the seed drops when the animal rests or grooms. From the plant's perspective, it is efficient. The seed avoids landing in the shadow of its parent, and it can travel in the exact directions animals choose to roam. For humans, this strategy is so effective that it can feel like a nuisance, burrs clinging after a walk. For the plant, it is triumph. The seed turns curiosity and movement into dispersal, and it does it with simple structure. The coffee bean is actually a seed. Inside the coffee cherry, the bean is the plant's future. The fruit is sweet and fleshy, meant to attract animals that can carry the seed away. Humans stepped into that story and built an entire culture around what the seed can become after careful processing. Before roasting, it is green and grassy smelling, nothing like a cafe. Roasting transforms it through heat, creating hundreds of aroma compounds that lift into the air and signal comfort to millions of people. That transformation is so powerful it can make us forget the biological origin. Yet it is still a seed, shaped to grow into a tree if given soil and time. Coffee is also a reminder that bitterness can be desirable when balanced well. A seed evolved for reproduction became a global ritual tied to mornings, conversation, and work. Every cup begins as a plant's next generation, redirected by human taste and craft. Acorns were once ground into flour for bread. In many regions, acorns were more than emergency food. They were a seasonal staple that could be stored, traded, and turned into meals with real planning behind them. The first challenge was bitterness, since many acorns contain tannins that make the mouth feel dry. People learned to crack, crush, and leach the meal with repeated rinses until the harshness faded. What remained was a nutty, earthy flour that could be cooked into flatbreads, porridges, and thick stews. This knowledge mattered because oaks can produce huge harvests in good years, and acorns can be collected without ploughing or planting. It was a way of turning a forest into a pantry. The process also built community routines, from gathering to grinding to shared cooking. An acorn can look humble, yet it once carried real food security. The towering coconut palm begins from a single heavy seed. At the start, a coconut is less like a seed and more like a packed survival capsule. It carries a large internal reserve that can support early growth before the young plant is fully independent. As the first root system forms, the seed provides steady fuel for building structure in sandy, shifting ground. Then a shoot rises and begins to form the palm's distinctive leaves. which must quickly become efficient at capturing sunlight in bright coastal environments. That early phase is demanding. Salt spray, wind, and heat can stress a young plant that has not yet anchored itself. The coconut's size is not just excess. It is insurance, giving the seedling time to establish without relying on immediate success in the soil. When you see a mature palm, it is easy to forget the beginning was a single, weighty package. Yet the entire tower began as a seed that arrived already prepared for hard conditions. Some seeds can detect light before they sprout. For many seeds, light is not just illumination. It is information. Tiny molecules inside the seed can respond to particular wavelengths, which helps the seed decide whether it is buried deep, shaded by leaves, or sitting close to the surface. That decision matters because sprouting in the wrong place can be fatal. A seed that germinates under thick leaf litter might run out of stored energy before it reaches open air. A seed that waits too long might miss a brief window of moisture. Light sensing helps tune that timing. In forests, it can even help seeds respond to canopy gaps, since the quality of light changes when sunlight reaches the ground directly. This makes germination feel less like a simple reaction and more like a small act of judgment. The seed is still, but it is not blind. It is reading its world. Nutshells evolved as armor against hungry animals. A nut is meant to be eaten, but not too easily and not too soon. The shell is a compromise between protection and possibility. If it is too weak, the seed is destroyed quickly and the tree loses its future. If it is too strong, the seed might never escape to grow. Many shells are engineered with tough fibers, dense layers, and seams that open only under the right kind of force. That force might come from weathering, from time, or from a specific animal that can crack the shell and then scatter what it does not finish. This sets up an ongoing contest. Animals evolve stronger jaws and better tools. Plants evolve thicker walls and better packaging. The result is an everyday marvel, a small capsule that can resist rain, mold, and teeth, while still allowing a new plant to emerge when the moment finally arrives. The almond tree is related to peaches and roses. Almonds belong to a botanical family that is full of familiar surprises. The same lineage includes stone fruits like peaches and cherries, and also ornamentals like roses. Once you know that, the similarities start to feel obvious. The blossoms share a delicate structure, and the fruits follow a pattern that centers on a hardened pit. The almond we eat is the seed inside that pit, which is why it feels like it has 1 foot in the world of fruit and 1 foot in the world of nuts. This family connection also helps explain how humans bred such variety from related plants, from sweet kernels to juicy peaches. It is a reminder that evolution often works like remixing. It takes an old design and adjusts it into new forms. So an almond orchard is not just agriculture. It is a visible branch of a much larger family tree that also includes petals and perfume. Ancient Romans scattered nuts at weddings for luck. A wedding is a moment when people try to bless the future, and nuts made perfect symbols. They are compact, valuable, and full of stored energy, which naturally links them to fertility, prosperity, and new beginnings. When Romans tossed nuts at celebrations, it was more than a snack flying through the air. It was a ritual gesture that turned food into meaning. It also says something practical about what people had on hand. Nuts store well, travel easily, and can be shared with a crowd without spoiling. That makes them ideal for public moments. Traditions like this reveal how deeply food and belief intertwine. A simple nut can become a wish, carried by laughter and noise, then crushed underfoot as the couple steps into a new life. Even today, many celebrations still include symbolic foods. The Romans chose something that already looked like promise, wrapped in a shell. Seeds helped early humans survive harsh winters. When cold seasons arrived, fresh plants vanished, and hunting could become unpredictable. Seeds and nuts helped solve that problem because they could be gathered in abundance during warmer months and kept for later. Their natural packaging resists spoilage, and their concentrated energy made them efficient to carry. That meant people could plan ahead, not just react. Storage changes everything. It supports longer stays in one area, it allows sharing during shortages, and it frees time for tool-making and shelter. Seeds also travel well, which matters when groups had to move. A pouch of durable food could mean the difference between endurance and disaster during storms or long treks. This is one reason the seasonal rhythm of gathering became so important. Knowing where plants grew and when they ripened was a form of survival intelligence. Long before modern pantries, seeds were a portable winter strategy, packed by nature and managed by human memory. Some rainforest trees rely on bats to disperse seeds. In the rainforest, nighttime is not downtime. It is shift change. Many fruiting trees time their offerings to the hours when bats are active, using scent and pale colors that stand out in low light. A bat can follow aroma through dense vegetation, land, feed quickly, then carry fruit away to safer perches. The seeds get a ride to new ground, often far from the parent tree, and sometimes with a useful drop of fertilizer attached. This partnership can shape whole forest patterns, since bats can cross gaps, rivers, and broken habitat more easily than many birds. It also means that losing bat populations can ripple outward in surprising ways, altering which trees regenerate and where. The idea is thrilling because it flips the usual picture of seed dispersal. It is not always daylight and birdsong. Sometimes it is wings in the dark, guided by smell, turning the night sky into a delivery route for the next generation of trees. The hemp seed has been cultivated for thousands of years. Hemp became valuable because it was versatile. The plant offered strong fibers for rope and cloth, and it also produced seeds that could be eaten or pressed for oil. That combination made it useful across many parts of daily life, from practical materials to food. Cultivation over long periods also shaped the plant into forms that suited different goals, with some varieties selected for fiber traits and others for seed yield. This long history matters because it shows how agriculture is not only about taste. It is about usefulness, durability, and local needs. Hemp fibers helped support sailing, fishing, and transport, since strong cordage can be as important as food in a working society. The seeds, meanwhile, provided a dense source of nourishment that could be stored. When a single plant can clothe you, tie your tools together, and feed you, it earns a lasting place in human history. Pistachio trees can live for several centuries. A pistachio tree is built for patience. It grows slowly, settles into its climate, and can keep producing long after faster crops would have been replanted many times. That longevity is part of why pistachios feel like an old-world food, tied to landscapes where orchards were meant to last. A long-lived tree also means a long relationship with place. Roots deepen, microbes adapt around it, and the tree becomes a stable feature of the land through drought cycles and changing seasons. For growers, the timeline can be generational. A tree planted today may reach its best years later, rewarding people who did not even put it in the ground. That is a different way of thinking about food, less like quick harvest and more like inheritance. When you eat a pistachio, it can come from a tree that has outlived centuries of weather, quietly turning sunlight and water into seeds year after year. A cashew's shell contains a naturally caustic oil. That harsh chemistry is one reason cashews are never sold in their shells. The liquid is part of the tree's defense system, and it can cause painful skin reactions if handled carelessly. Processors treat the shells with heat, so the irritants break down. Then the nuts are removed and cleaned before they ever reach a kitchen. The same defensive oil has had other lives too. In industry, it has been used in resins, coatings, and friction materials, since it can be chemically modified into tough, durable compounds. It is a striking twist. A seed protects itself with something aggressive. Humans learn to disarm it safely, and then the leftover chemistry becomes useful in entirely different ways. It is not common to find a snack that arrives by way of hazard management and materials science. Yet, that is part of the cashew story. The mighty redwood begins as a seed, smaller than rice. It is almost hard to accept that something so massive starts as something so easy to lose. A redwood seed is light, thin, and easily carried by wind, which helps it reach new ground. The challenge comes after landing. The seed must find a patch of soil with the right moisture, enough light, and far less competition than a crowded forest floor usually allows. Fallen logs can become nurseries because rotting wood holds water like a sponge and lifts seedlings above some of the fungi and insects in the soil. When a seedling succeeds, it enters a life built for endurance. Redwoods can grow quickly in height, then keep building wood year after year in a climate that supports long growing seasons. The contrast is the wonder. A seed so small it could hide on the fingertip can become a living pillar that shapes fog, shade, and habitat for centuries. Some seeds can survive wildfires buried underground. Fire can race over the surface, yet soil can act like insulation. A few centimeters down, temperatures can be far lower than the flames above, which means seeds buried by wind, rain, or animal digging may escape lethal heat. That hidden survival can change what happens next. After a burn, the ground is more open, light reaches places that were once shaded, and the first rains can soak in without a dense canopy intercepting them. Seeds that endured underground can respond quickly, sending up seedlings into a landscape that has been cleared of many competitors. In some ecosystems, this creates a distinct pattern, with certain plants returning reliably after fires because their seeds were protected in the soil. It is a reminder that a wildfire does not erase life evenly. The surface story looks dramatic, but below it, a seed bank can be waiting. Hazelnuts grow inside leafy, protective husks. The nut develops wrapped in a green collar that looks almost like a tiny lantern. That husk can help shield the growing seed from drying winds and from some hungry insects, while still allowing air to circulate. As the nut matures, the husk changes, often loosening or browning as harvest time approaches. In the wild, those husks also influence how animals handle hazelnuts. The extra layer can slow down feeding, which can lead to more caching and more accidental planting when nuts are carried away. For growers, the husk becomes a clue about readiness, since it often signals when nuts will begin to fall. What I love about hazelnuts is the sense of packaging within packaging. A shell protects the kernel, and a husk protects the shell, and the whole structure hangs on a branch like a small, self-contained vault. It is careful design, built for both defense and timing. The sesame seed was once called the Queen of Oil Seeds. That nickname makes sense when you consider how much oil is packed into something so small. Sesame seeds can yield a fragrant oil that has been valued in cooking for its flavor and its ability to hold up well in storage. The seed coat also comes in different colors, and those differences can reflect varieties selected for taste, tradition, and local growing conditions. Sesame has another advantage. It can grow in regions where water is limited, which helped it become important in places where richer crops struggled. Over time, people built cuisines around it, from pastes and sauces to toppings that add crunch and aroma with only a sprinkle. The Queen title also insert economy. When a tiny seed can be pressed into a useful portable fat, it becomes more than food. It becomes a way to carry energy, flavor, and value in a compact form. A walnut tree can take years before producing its first crop. A walnut tree is not interested in quick rewards. Early on, it invests in structure, deep roots, sturdy branches, and a canopy that can gather enough sunlight to support heavy fruiting later. That long build creates a different relationship between people and plants. Planting walnuts can be an act of patience, almost like writing a letter to the future. When the first harvest finally arrives, it can feel earned, because the tree has spent years preparing its internal systems for reliable production. The wait also shapes landscapes. A mature walnut becomes shade, habitat, and a steady seasonal rhythm, and it often outlasts changes in the people around it. This slow timeline is part of the fascination. Many crops are annual and fast. A walnut tree asks you to think in decades. It offers a lesson in long-term biology, where success is not speed, but persistence and investment. Seeds are packed with proteins, fats, and hidden energy. A seed is a condensed life support kit. It holds building material for new cells, energy reserves to power early growth, and protective compounds that help it survive storage and travel. Different plants pack that kit in different ways. Some seeds lean toward oils that store a lot of energy in a small space. Others rely more on starches that can be broken down steadily as the seedling grows. Proteins provide amino acids for enzymes and structure, which a young plant needs immediately when it begins to build roots and shoots. This is why seeds have fed humans and animals so reliably across climates. They are designed to support a growing organism through its most vulnerable stage, so they are naturally nourishing to anything that can digest them. The hidden energy is also why seeds can seem small but matter so much. In a handful of kernels, there is enough stored fuel to launch an entire generation. The breadfruit contains large seeds rich in starch. Breadfruit is famous for its soft, starchy flesh. But some varieties also carry substantial seeds, and those seeds can be an important food. Starch is plant energy stored in a form that can be cooked into something filling, which makes starchy seeds especially valuable in regions where reliable calories matter. Breadfruit trees can produce heavy harvests, and the fruit can support meals in many forms, roasted, boiled, or mashed. The seeds add another layer of usefulness, since they can be cooked and eaten as well, often with a texture that is hearty and satisfying. What makes this fascinating is the way a single tree can offer multiple food pathways. It is not only fruit sweetness. It is also stored carbohydrate meant for growth, redirected into human diets. When you look at a breadfruit seed, you are seeing an energy reserve that was designed for a seedling and adopted by people as a dependable, cookable staple. Some desert plants produce seeds that wait decades for rain. In the driest places, rain is not a season. It is an event, and sometimes it is absent for years. Some desert plants respond with extreme patience. Their seeds can remain dormant in the soil, forming a long-term reserve that outlasts the adult plants you see above ground. This is a survival strategy called bet hedging. Instead of risking everything on one brief wet spell, the plant spreads its chances across time. A few seeds might sprout after a modest rain, while others remain asleep, saving themselves for a future storm that truly saturates the ground. This creates a strange kind of continuity. Even when the desert looks lifeless, it can be carrying a hidden backlog of future blooms. When heavy rains finally arrive after long drought, the result can look impossible. A sudden carpet of flowers that seems to appear from nowhere. The seeds were there all along, simply refusing to be rushed. The kola nut played a role in West African ceremonies. In many communities, the kola nut has been more than food. It has been a symbol of welcome, respect, and social connection. Offering kola can mark the beginning of a visit, the opening of a meeting, or the sealing of an agreement. The act is often structured with specific ways of presenting, breaking, and sharing that reflect status and relationship. Sharing matters because it turns a private object into a public bond. The nut becomes a small stage for trust, hospitality, and community memory. Its presence in ceremonies also shows how plants can become cultural language. A tree's seed can carry meaning that is understood without explanation, like a gesture that says, "You are seen, you are included, we are connected." When you hear about kola in ceremonies, you are hearing about how people use the natural world to anchor human moments, from greetings to negotiations to celebrations. The pine-cone spiral pattern follows ancient mathematical rules. Hold a pine cone in your palm and you are holding a lesson in efficiency. The scales are not placed randomly. They are arranged in spirals that run in opposite directions, and you can often count them as two different numbers. Those counts commonly match a pattern seen across many plants, where growth follows ratios that pack new parts tightly without leaving wasted gaps. As the cone grows, each new scale appears in the best available space, and the spiral pattern emerges naturally from that simple rule. It is the same kind of packing logic you can spot in sunflower heads and pineapples, where structure must fit many pieces into a limited surface. The result looks artistic, yet it comes from geometry doing its quiet work. A pinecone is not trying to be beautiful. It is trying to be functional, and mathematics is one of the tools evolution uses to achieve it. Some nuts ripen only after falling from the tree. For certain trees, dropping the fruit is not the end of the story. It is the next step. A nut may fall while it is still wrapped in a green husk that needs time to soften, darken, or break down before the kernel is truly ready to store well. On the ground, natural processes take over. Moisture, microbes, and changing temperature can help loosen hulls and reduce harsh tastes. In some cases, the nut benefits from a short curing period where internal chemistry settles and textures firm up. That timing also shapes who gets to eat it. Animals that arrive quickly may take fresh nuts, while others return later for what remains after husks split or decay. It turns the forest floor into a finishing room, where the nut completes its last stage outside the branch that made it. What looks like a simple drop is actually a handoff, from tree to ground, from growth to readiness. The macadamia has one of the hardest shells known. A macadamia is a fortress with a reward inside. The shell is so tough that opening it can require serious force, and that toughness is not an accident. In the wild, a hard shell slows down predators and protects the seed from damage, which gives it more time to find the right moment and place to grow. It also changes the human story. Macadamias are not the kind of nut you casually crack with your teeth. They became widely eaten only once people developed reliable ways to process them, turning a stubborn package into a smooth, buttery kernel. That contrast is part of the fascination. A plant invests in armor, humans invest in tools, and the result is a food that feels luxurious, partly because it is difficult to access. When you taste a macadamia, you are tasting what survived behind one of nature's strongest shells. Seeds can cross continents hidden in migrating birds. Migration is one of the fastest ways to move life across the planet. Birds can travel astonishing distances in a single season, and seeds can join the journey in more than one way. Some stick to muddy feet or feathers after a stop at a wetland. Some hitch a ride in swallowed fruit, passing through the gut and leaving the bird far from where it began. Either way, the seed arrives in a new region with a rare advantage It has crossed barriers like mountains, deserts, and open water. This is one reason islands can gain new plants without human help, and why wetlands can share species even when they are separated by huge spaces. It is also a reminder that ecosystems are connected by movement you often cannot see. A bird in flight can be carrying a small passenger, and that passenger can become a new patch of green thousands of miles away. The chestnut burr protects its glossy seeds with spines. A chestnut burr looks like a tiny sea creature dropped onto land, covered in sharp points that demand respect. Those spines are a defense against hungry animals that might destroy the seeds before they have a chance. Yet the burr is not meant to stay sealed forever. When the seeds are ready, the burr splits open, revealing smooth, polished chestnuts inside, each one shaped like it was carved and varnished. This design creates a timed reveal. The spines discourage early theft, then the opening invites dispersal at the right moment, when the seed is mature. It also shapes how animals interact with chestnuts. Some will wait for burrs to open, or will learn careful ways to handle them, then carry seeds away and store them. In that way, the burr is both shield and schedule. It guards the prize, then releases it, turning danger into a delivery system. Almond blossoms are among the first signs of spring. When almond trees bloom, they announce that winter's grip is loosening. The timing is not magic. It is biology responding to accumulated cold and the first steady warmth, a kind of seasonal math written into buds months earlier. That makes almond bloom a natural calendar, and people have treated it that way for a long time, watching the flowers as a signal for changing weather and fieldwork. The blossoms also create a brief, intense moment for pollination, when orchards can hum with insect activity and every day matters. This early bloom can be beautiful, but it is also a vulnerable phase, because late cold can still arrive. That tension is part of why the blossoms feel meaningful. They are not only decoration, they are a commitment. The tree is spending its stored energy on reproduction before the season feels fully safe. When you see those flowers, you are seeing a plant betting on the return of warmth. Some seeds require darkness before they can germinate. For these seeds, light can be a warning rather than an invitation. Darkness can signal that the seed is properly covered, protected from drying air, and close enough to soil moisture to support early growth. If the seed stays on the surface where sun and wind can strip water away, germinating can be a fatal mistake. By refusing to sprout in light, the seed reduces the chance of wasting its reserves in a bad location. This strategy is especially useful in habitats where leaf litter or soil movement can briefly expose seeds, then cover them again later. The seed waits until it senses a safer situation, then it commits. That makes germination feel like timing, not just triggering. It also creates a hidden layer to landscapes. You can look at bare ground and see nothing happening, yet beneath a thin cover, seeds may be waiting for darkness as a green light. The world above is bright, but the seed may need shade to begin. The pecan is native to North America's river valleys. Pecans are not just orchard trees. Their origin story runs through floodplains and rich bottomlands, where rivers deposit new layers of soil and seasonal water shapes the landscape. In those valleys, a tree that can handle change has an advantage. River systems can bring both nourishment and disturbance, and pecans evolved in that rhythm. Their nuts also fit the setting. Waterways attract wildlife, and animals that travel along rivers are excellent at moving seeds. Humans later recognized the value too, gathering pecans as a dependable seasonal food and eventually planting them more widely. Knowing the native habitat changes how you picture the nut. It is not an abstract crop. It is a product of a specific geography, shaped by flowing water and fertile silt. When you taste a pecan, you are tasting a seed that comes from landscapes where land and river meet, and where the soil is built and rebuilt over time. A coconut holds both food and fresh water inside. It is one of the most self-contained starting kits in the plant world. The liquid inside begins as the coconut's endosperm in an early form, and later, much of that endosperm becomes the white flesh that people eat. During germination, the embryo does not head straight into soil and hope for the best. It first uses the resources sealed within the shell, growing a spongy structure that draws nourishment from the inner flesh as the sprout develops. This internal support helps the young plant build roots and a shoot before it has fully secured itself in ground that may be sandy, salty, or unstable. It is also why coconuts can feel like they contain a whole system, not just a seed. The shell protects, the interior feeds, and the embryo uses what is stored to get through the most precarious stage of life. It is a portable nursery, sealed tight until the moment it is needed. Seeds can measure moisture before deciding to grow. A seed does not want to spend its reserves on a false start. Many can sense water availability through the simple physics of swelling. As the seed absorbs moisture, internal pressure changes, membranes rehydrate, and chemical pathways begin to wake. If moisture drops again too quickly, those pathways can slow or pause, protecting the embryo from committing too early. Hormones play a role in this decision-making too, with some signals acting like brakes during drought, and others acting like accelerators when conditions stabilize. Temperature and soil salts can also affect how easily water enters, which gives the seed more clues about whether the environment is truly safe. This is why some seeds wait through brief damp periods, then germinate only after sustained moisture. It is not guessing. It is sampling. The seed tests the world the way you might test water with your fingertips, then chooses the moment when growth is most likely to succeed. The Brazil nut tree depends on a single rainforest bee. In the Amazon, this tree's harvest begins with a very specific visitor. Its flowers are shaped in a way that makes pollination difficult for many insects. The nectar and pollen sit behind a kind of floral barrier, and only strong, well-matched bees can push in and do the job. Without that successful pollination, the famous heavy fruit never forms, and there is no nut to collect later. This creates a delicate chain. The bee needs healthy forest habitat and nesting opportunities. The tree needs the bee. People who harvest the nuts depend on both. It is a vivid reminder that wild foods are not separate from ecology. They are woven into it. A single seed you crack open at home can trace its origin back to a specific bee, flying in a specific forest, completing a precise and necessary task. Some nuts were once used as currency in trade. Before paper money was common, a useful object could become a unit of value if people trusted it. Nuts made sense in certain places because they were portable, recognizable, and widely desired. A good nut has real utility. It can be eaten, stored, or planted. It also has built-in quality control, since a damaged nut often shows it through weight, sound, or smell. In marketplaces where metal coins were scarce or where local trade needed practical standards, food items could function as everyday exchange. That idea can feel strange now, yet it highlights something simple about economics. Value begins as agreement, and agreement often starts with shared needs. When a nut becomes currency, it carries both nourishment and negotiation. It becomes proof that a community can measure worth using what the land provides, turning harvest into a language of trade. The chia plant produces flowers rich with tiny seeds. Chia does not create its seeds in isolation. It builds them through a flowering phase that draws in pollinators and times reproduction to seasonal rhythms. The blossoms are small, often subtle in color, yet they are busy sites of exchange, where pollen moves and fertilization begins. After that, the plant focuses on finishing thousands of minute seeds, each one wrapped in a coat designed for survival and dispersal. This is why a single patch of flowering chia can feel like a quiet factory, turning sunlight, water, and minerals into future plants and future food. It is also why seed production is never just about the seed. It is about the whole life cycle that leads to it, from flower structure to pollinator behavior to weather. When you stir chia into water, you are meeting the end of a story that began in a flower. Nut trees can communicate stress through chemical signals. A tree cannot walk away from trouble, so it has to manage danger in place. When insects attack or when leaves are damaged, some trees release airborne chemicals that change how nearby leaves behave. Those signals can prime defenses, making tissues less appealing or encouraging the production of protective compounds. The message can also reach predators of the attackers by altering scent in a way that helps hunters find their prey. Stress signaling is not kindness. It is strategy, shaped by survival. In a grove, this can turn individual trees into a loose network of awareness, where one tree's damage becomes information for its neighbors. The effect is not a spoken warning, but it can still change outcomes. It can slow an outbreak. It can shift insect choices. It can influence the balance of an entire season. A nut tree may look still, yet it can broadcast when something is wrong. Ancient sailors carried coconuts as portable supplies. On long sea journeys, fresh food and safe water were constant problems. Coconuts offered an elegant solution because they traveled well without needing barrels, jars, or constant care. The hard shell protected the contents from rough handling and salt spray, and the interior provided both liquid and calories in one self-contained package. That reliability mattered when ships moved between ports or when storms delayed travel. A coconut could be stored, opened when needed, and shared without complicated preparation. It also fit the logic of exploration, since it did not depend on refrigeration or quick consumption. It was a compact survival item that came from a tree, not a workshop. Thinking about sailors relying on coconuts changes how you see the fruit. It is not only tropical and familiar. It is also practical engineering in plant form, a natural container that helped humans cross open water. The almond was domesticated thousands of years ago. Wild almonds often contain bitter compounds that make them unpleasant or even unsafe to eat in large amounts. Long ago, people noticed rare trees that produced sweeter kernels, and they began to favor those plants. Over time, that preference shaped orchards. Seeds were planted from desirable trees, and branches were propagated to preserve traits, until almonds became reliable food rather than an occasional lucky find. This is one of the clearest examples of domestication as quiet selection. No lab, no modern tools, just repeated human choices, season after season. The result was a seed that moved from risky to trusted, from scattered wild stands to managed landscapes. It is also a story of taste guiding agriculture. A small genetic difference changed how people traveled, traded, and cooked. When you eat an almond today, you are tasting the outcome of ancient decisions made by people who were paying close attention. Some seeds can survive digestion by large mammals. For a seed, a large animal can be both danger and opportunity. Many seeds are destroyed when chewed, but some are small enough, hard enough, or cleverly protected enough to pass through with their core intact. The gut journey can provide transport far from the parent plant, and the exit often comes with a useful bonus, a package of nutrients and moisture that supports early growth. This strategy becomes especially powerful when the carrier ranges widely, crossing open ground and connecting distant habitats. It also links plant futures to animal populations. When large mammals decline, the plants that relied on them can lose a key dispersal route, and their range can shrink over time. A seed that survives digestion is not simply tough. It is adapted to a moving world, one where travel inside a creature can be safer than travel alone, and where a forest can spread on 4 legs. A single sunflower can feed dozens of birds. When a sunflower dries and droops, it becomes a dining table. Finches, sparrows, chickadees, and other seed eaters can pick from the head for days, sometimes returning again and again until little remains. The plant's tall stalk and broad face also make it easy to spot, which matters when food becomes scarce later in the season. In fields and gardens, these seed-heavy heads can support flocks, especially during migration and the lead-up to winter. What is fascinating is the efficiency. One plant can convert a season of sunlight into a concentrated meal that fuels flight, warmth, and survival. Birds then carry that energy into the next part of their lives, whether that means a long journey or a cold night. The sunflower is not trying to feed birds, but the relationship is real. A seed head becomes part of the food web, and the sky benefits. The lotus seed symbolizes rebirth in many cultures. Lotus plants rise from muddy water and open clean blossoms at the surface, and that visual has made them powerful symbols across history. The seed fits that symbolism because it represents a beginning that can wait, protected and patient, until conditions allow growth. In art, stories, and religious traditions, the lotus often stands for renewal, resilience, and the idea that beauty can emerge from difficult surroundings. What makes this especially compelling is that the symbolism is anchored in biology. The plant's life cycle is dramatic and easy to witness. A seed becomes a shoot. A shoot becomes a leaf that floats. A bud rises, then opens into a flower that seems almost unreal. When cultures choose a plant as a symbol, it is usually because the plant has a visible lesson to teach. The lotus seed is that lesson in miniature, a quiet promise that new life can begin again. Every forest on Earth begins with a single seed. A forest can feel permanent, like something that has always been there. Yet its story starts with a first arrival, a seed landing in a place where trees were not yet established. That seed might come by wind, water, or animal travel, and it must survive long enough to become shade, shelter, and soil maker for what follows. Once the first trees take hold, they change everything. They soften wind, trap moisture, build leaf litter, and create new niches where other plants and animals can settle. Over time, more seeds arrive, and the community grows in layers, with understory, canopy, and the unseen world of roots below. This is why seeds matter beyond agriculture. They are how landscapes heal after disturbance, how new habitats form, and how the living world expands into open space. A forest begins as one small package of life, then becomes a system that can last for centuries. Tonight, we wandered through a world that fits in the palm of your hand. We began with seeds that can sleep for centuries, and nuts that once shaped trade, ceremony, and survival. We watched coconuts cross oceans, pine cones open with heat, and desert seeds wait patiently for rain that may not fall for years. We followed bees into rainforest flowers, birds across continents, and fungi beneath the soil where roots whisper and trade. We saw how a single seed can become a redwood, how a sunflower can turn sunlight into food for wings, and how a forest itself begins with something small enough to lose between your fingers. We tasted history in almonds and sesame, glimpsed chemistry in cacao and coffee, and felt the quiet power stored inside shells, husks, and hidden kernels. And now, as all of that settles, you might notice something gentle happening in your own mind. The scale has shifted. The world feels both vast and intimate. Entire ecosystems resting inside something no larger than a coin. Time, stretching from ancient orchards to tomorrow's seedlings. If you enjoyed this journey through nuts and seeds, you might like to explore another slow adventure with us. There will be a new video waiting on your screen. And if you feel inclined, you can like, subscribe, or leave a thought below. It helps this quiet corner of curiosity continue to grow. But for now, let everything soften. Imagine the hush of a forest floor at dusk. Seeds resting in cool soil. Branches still against a darkening sky. Let your thoughts settle the way a seed settles into earth. Sleep well and good night.